Alright, so what I'm doing here, let me just verify and make sure this thing is actually recording, so I'm not just talking to the wind. Okay, alright, so I'm going to minimize this now and I'll go back here. So just like I said earlier on, I have my IP address here to be 55.5, correct? So, and I'm going to start a listener here, and I'm just simply going to perform just a very simple, straightforward exercise here. The goal, listen on this interface. I'm going to flip over to my next VM, and on this VM I'm going to try and go ahead and ping 192.168.55.5. now I'm going to ping it endlessly, so it's not going to stop. Okay, and normally what I'll get over here is something like this. If I really want to have a little bit of more fun, I can go ahead and do similar thing on this guy, because this guy also have a, you know, I can go to netpcap and go to windump on this machine as well, and I can write something to a file and said, you know, ping2.pcap. okay, so right, so it's going to be saving this conversion to file. Does that make any sense? So you can see it's just pinging endlessly, it's getting the feedback and the ping, you know, request, getting the ping back, and I can go back to this guy and say, okay, I think, you know, enough. So stop here. I've captured about 118. Come over here and stop as well. So go back here. I can read my packet, and I can go to ping, right? And of course you're going to have a go a little bit slowly. Why do you think it's a little slower? Because it's trying to reserve domain name to host IP and stuff like that, and you can press enter and it's going to takes a little bit of time, right? You can see it's resolving host name instead of giving me the IP address, right? So there's a lot of stuff it's trying to do, and you can see it's a bunch of echo reply, echo request, echo reply, echo request, echo reply, echo request. You see that? There's a bunch of stuff like that. But I can come back over here and just do -NN-VV, and you can see it goes by quickly, right? Because it's like, don't try to resolve host name, don't try to resolve port address, just give it to me, boom, and then it displays it. And I can run it into more, just like I showed you earlier on, and I could see a little bit more of paging of that information. What else can I do? I can pipe this into XView that show you the X dump of this, you know, packet by packet. And you can see this is IP, right? But what do you have in there? What is the protocol? What is the field for protocol? In the image that I showed you guys, what byte offset? It's protocol. Byte offset 9. Byte offset 9, isn't it? Byte offset 9. You can look at the diagram. Byte offset 9 is the protocol that's what I showed you guys. That's byte offset 9. That's what tells you what protocol IP is carrying. And if you look at it, here is this one. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what protocol number is 01? Go up online and look at it. ICMP, correct. If it were to be 6, that would be TCP, and so on and so forth. So ICMP, so you can tell this ICMP protocol. Alright? So anyway, I just want to show you, you can see how clear it is right now. I can look at what is being transferred. It's a bunch of request and reply. You know, this is reply and this is request, and it kind of follows through, and you can just pretty much tell about the conversation that is going on. And now look at what I told you guys earlier on. I've explained this to you. I said you can see this more clearly on a very quiet system. Look at the IP ID. Okay? Look at the IP ID. Look at this. IP ID 1699. Okay, you have to look at the side of the machine that is talking now. This is my domain controller. Okay, and this is my other, let me look at this other system here. I'll make sure that I'm displaying everything. So this is 169, you know, 168.55.2. You see that? Talking to my domain controller. So I want to give you this so you can understand it more clearly. This 155.2 here, talking to my domain controller, which is .55.5. Look at it here now. Look at the IP ID. The IP ID, I'm going to go to the top of this machine, of the other machine, to my domain controller. The IP ID is what? 1699. What is going to be the next one? Right? That's how you know it's the same part of the same conversation. Because every time this guy is talking, .2, 55.2, you're going to see the IP ID increasing just by 1. The next time he's talking over here, just by 1. The next time he's talking over here, just by 1. You see that? How it increases just by 1, and you can tell it's the same part of the same conversation. Look at my domain controller when he's talking. When my domain controller is talking, you want to see this is my domain controller talking. This is the IP ID of my domain controller. You can see that the IP ID of the two systems are different because it's taken at random. But then after the randomness, then there is order to it. 25, what do you see here? 26, and then 27, and then 28. You see that? That's what I kind of explained to you. And it allows, if you're using other tools is able to know that these are part of the same conversation. So I can pair a conversation up together. Anyway, that's not where we're going. I just want to kind of show you what this looks like unencrypted. Okay? I'll take your question 1 minute later. Okay? Alright. So I'm going to quickly wrap this up now. And I'm going to go to, this is open source. Anybody can see this. This is unencrypted. If I were to tell you and say, you know what, going forward here, then I'm going to delete this one off. If I were to say, going forward now, I don't want this to be encrypted. I want this to be, classified, protected, encrypted on a secure channel. Because we're pushing credit card information back and forth. And bad guys can sit in between and they can sift our packet. How are we going to do it? That's easy. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to my server manager, and I'm on my domain controller now. So I wanted to see what is I'm doing. I go to tools here, and there's a lot of things that you could do. I'm going to go to my Windows firewall with advanced security. Okay? And I'm going to open this up. And here, in the previous version, you might see IPSec, but here they call it connection security rules. It's essentially the same thing. And here, you can create new rules. Okay? And I can have isolation here, restrict connection based on authentication criteria, such as domain membership or health status. I can use this, or I can say authentication exemption. In other words, whenever two machines are talking, I don't want them to bother to authenticate because they are in a secure, total super secure segment. In this case, I'll probably be going for this one. Here is a server, to server authenticate connection between, specified computer, tunnel, between computer. Let's go for isolation here. You can also select custom rule if it doesn't fit any of these. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say request authentication for inbound and outbound connections. Okay, everything that goes in and out will be authenticated. This one requires authentication for inbound connection, requests authentication for outbound, connection. This one requests it. If it's not available, it's going to work anyway. This one is saying forget it. If you're not doing it, we're not playing. So I'm saying this is kind of like more lockdown rather. This one is more of a compromise. Require authentication for inbound and outbound connection. Both inbound and outbound connection must be authenticated to be allowed. Whereas this one, inbound connection must be authenticated to be allowed. Outbound connection are authenticated whenever possible. Now, whatever is coming in, you want to make sure that they are authenticated. You want to be sure who is sending it. But you're saying, I got it. I make sure I don't just send anything to anybody. So this one is saying lock both sides. So we're going for the most strict one of them. And here you could go for use authentication method, as specified in IPSec settings. Here you could use Kerberos. In a domain controller environment, you could use Kerberos. So in this case, you're restricting for both users and computers. Here I'm just saying computers. Does that make any sense? Let's just kind of stick for computers over here. Go to next here, and I'm saying I'm doing it on my domain, private, public. What are you on the domain? I'm saying apply it, and then I can say this one. Let's call this IPSec. Okay. So now I have a rule set up here, okay, so on this particular machine. So what is going to happen here, and you can view the rules themselves. You can view the rules. So here, remote computers, I can select these IPs or whatever, endpoint 1 or endpoint 2. I can specify them as I want. You can go over there and say this is the endpoint 1. You can select a bunch of IP. I can add particular IP that I want or range of IP address. I can come over here and say 192.168.55.2 and click OK. And go ahead and add 192.168.55.3, whatever. This will be my endpoint 1. You can specify what protocol. Here I'm saying any protocol. Here, if I go to select this, I'm saying any, between any of these. Let's stick to this one right now. On authentication, we've already said we're using Kerberos 5. There's a lot of other stuff you could also do. So, but I'm saying any here, and I'm going to apply. I'm going to go to OK. I'm going to go to this system as well. And in this case, I'm going to go down and do the same thing. And I'm going to go to Windows Firewall, Advanced Security Firewall. It's going to load it up. I'm going to go to connection security rules over here. Create a new rule. And select the installation. I'm going through this one rather quickly now because of our time. I'm saying I only want to restrict only the computer, and I'm saying IPSec 2, for example, and I go to finish. And now that and look at it, because I'm monitoring certain things right now, you will see whatever it is you are monitoring over here. You can see nothing is actively being monitored over here. If you have anything that's going on, you will see a lot of stuff that that's going on here. One other stuff here, I'm going to go back and do what I used to do before, and this time around I'm also going to try and collect my packet, and we're going to examine that packet because I want us to see the difference between what is it? Between encrypted and unencrypted. So I'm going to start this one. So I'm going to go back to my domain controller here, minimize this. Actually, well, I can bring this up as well. So I'll go back up here. And then I'm going to go to this one. So let's call this one Impact 5, okay? And I'm going to go to this machine, authority, and I'm going to start pinging again. And this time around I'm going to ping endlessly, as I was doing earlier on. Okay? And I'm going to bring this up. And I'll go ahead and select part of the stuff that we were doing earlier on to see what it is that I have. So you will see after we've reviewed all our rules and everything that's going on, you will then see what do we have going on. Are we able to see anything in between it? So that should give us a good indication if what we're doing is working. You can see this thing is requesting, it's showing as if it's timing out, right? That doesn't mean it's really not working, or that doesn't mean it's not really pinging it, right? It could just simply be that it's, instead of displaying what we used to have earlier on, it's just not displaying it. So okay, I think this has been pinging for some time now. Let's go ahead and look at what we have here. Okay, I'm going to go back to this machine as well, and I'm going to go back here. Oh, it stopped already? Okay, it's not stopped. Okay, so I have this packet. Let me go and stop the other. Okay. So now let's go ahead and go ahead and examine what we have here. Let me minimize all this and draw this finger 5 and pipe it into more. So here is our first flag. What do you see here? Do they look alike? Can you tell what is being exchanged between the two systems? Can you tell if I'm pinging or not? Huh? No, you cannot. This is just mom. You're looking at something that doesn't look anything. This is what an encrypted packet looks like. I'll show you an example now. Let's go back and look at the second one. I'll actually go to Q here. Look at the first one, right? This is your first packet here. Okay, let me put this here. So let's clean this up. Okay, this is my first packet. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the first packet that we collected the first time. Okay, so I'm going to go to city net, and I'm going to say win dash read finish NNVV X, and I'm going to say dash read, right? So the same thing. Look at it right away. Just quickly take a quick look. You will see a world of difference between the two packets. One was encrypted, the other was not. look at the two. How different can they be? This is a false packet that is not encrypted. This is a false packet that was encrypted. Look at it. Same system, same machine, under the same environment. If you look at this that was not encrypted, after the IP header, which you can see clearly here, right? You realize that this value here and this value here are the same thing, isn't it? But just after that, what else do you see? A bunch of mumbo jumbo stuff, right? If you look up here, you can see that there is nothing here that this already tells you what is inside. If you can look at up here, this tells you, oh, inside this IP packet there is a payload, a protocol called ICMP. The ICMP has some blah blah in it. This one doesn't tell you anything. This one is just telling you UDP protocol that's been used for something else. And if you look at this, I can actually tell you, say reply. This one does not tell you anything. You cannot tell what data, so it's telling you which is the phase of authentication, right? This doesn't tell you anything. You cannot tell whether I'm pinging, and they are pinging. So they are replying. This guy is replying this, the other one is replying that. Only that now it's encrypted. You cannot see. Before you can see what we're doing. Now you cannot see, because when you in the IPSec, the two machine is authenticating. For example, if I want to send something, I'm going to say, what's your name, sir? Richard. So I'm going to come to you and say, Richard, you know, here's my ID. My name is Israel. And then I'm going to say, hey, I need to give you this money. I give it to you. Do you want to count it? Right? You're going to count it. And I'm going to say, Israel, here's my ID. The amount is $100. And then if I want to say something else, then I'm going to show you my ID again. And I'm going to talk. Then you want to reply me, you're going to show me your ID, and then you're going to talk back. There's always authentication between the two systems. Does that make any sense? That's exactly what you get between, you know, two machines. Now, I'm going to collect these two packets, I'm going to take it out. Because I wanted to see something real quick here, and then I'll pause this recording so that when you watch it on the video, it will make sense back to you. So this is encrypted, this is not. So let's take it outside here of the two machine, and I'm going to minimize this. Okay, here is a ping data packet trace file that is not encrypted, really. Okay, you can see a bunch of protocol, ICMP, blah blah. It's pretty simple. I can tell what they're doing. I can see on the IP here, I can see the source, I can see the destination. See that? Like it's easy, but I can also see what is in there. It's not the source or destination that is secret, it is what is in there, inside. Let's go ahead and open this one that is encrypted. This will give you idea when you're going back now to read IPSec. You will understand what is it that you're really reading. Look, I can see my destination. Like I told you, that's not source, that's not secret here, right? Well, let's look at the packet that. Now, at the first packet, you see this guy contacting the domain controller. That's right, correct? So you can see that there's a source, there's a destination, but then they're talking on port 500. Source port is 500, destination port is 500. That's IPSec. Okay? So, and then the next thing they do is they decide for, see, initiator, SPI. They decide on what kind of authentication we're going to use. We've already specified that they use Kerberos, right? Because they're on the same domain. If they are not on the same domain, I can use a certificate. Because I can do this across the internet. If you and I want to talk from our house, my house, want to talk, and we're afraid somebody from the internet may be listening on what we're doing, you and I can send you a certificate, give it to you on a jump drive, you install it on your machine, and then we'll set up IPSec across the internet between the two of us, and then we can talk secretly. So now this guy, they are agreeing on the key. See, as a security association, that is one means of IPSec. That's a security, and we're going to go over that in like a minute. And then they agree on the security, on the key management protocol. So here is the initiator specifying his own, and here is the responder. And then the next payload. They're using security association, SA. There is ESP, there is SA. We're going to look into details of this later. And then they exchange the identity mode, which is mode 2. And then after that, so this one, encryption, non-encrypted at this point, because that's when they're trying to talk. How are we going to talk now? Because the first data exchange is about how are we going to secure what we want to secure. Once they do that, then the next thing after that is going to be encrypted. It won't make any sense to you. And that's what you're watching over here when you're watching these two, you know. If I go to the next slide, here is the same guy, pretty much trying to do the same thing. Okay? So, see now, total payload now. So the first one, trying to agree on what key they're going to use, authentication method, and encryption, because they authenticate each other and then they encrypt the packet. Look at it over here. See the first one, see the second one. It's two different things that they're trying to do. See, here, there's no payload. Look at the second one. There is payload. And this is all encrypted. Look at the second one again. And then look at this guy responding back. And every time they talk, they encrypt their data. 1, 2, 3. And this guy responds back. And then they respond. And then again, and you will realize that this is how the conversation takes place. And the thing you're looking at over here, ISAKMP, is just kind of telling you that the packet is encrypted. Alright? So I'm going to stop the recording here now so it doesn't get too